Welcome. Today we're diving into something pretty amazing, youth entrepreneurship. And trust me, this is about way more than just kids selling lemonade. We're talking about building the skills for a successful, resilient life.
So let me ask you a question. What if the very first step to building lifelong confidence was just designing a business card? I know, it sounds almost too simple, right? But that's the wild idea we're going to unpack today.
Here's the journey we're going to take. We'll start with that first spark of an idea, then uncover all the powerful lessons hiding inside. We'll get real about the challenges, look at the support system that's absolutely critical, and wrap up with the ultimate goal, fostering an entrepreneurial mindset.
All right, let's start at the beginning. Every massive company, every game-changing idea, it all started with just a little spark. And for young people, that spark often gets lit through something really simple: play.
In fact, some awesome educational materials for kidpreneurs suggest that the best first step isn't some complicated business plan. Nope, it's something you can touch, something you can create. Designing your very first business card.
Now this looks like arts and crafts, but it is so much more. Dreaming an idea, that's about creating an identity. Designing your card, that's figuring out your purpose, what you offer. And sharing your vision, that's your first big, brave step into the world of communication. It takes this huge, abstract idea of a business and makes it real and personal. Okay, so how does drawing on a little card lead to something bigger? Well, this is where we peel back the layers. Because while it feels like fun, some really fundamental skills are being built, and the young entrepreneur might not even notice it's happening.
Think about what's really going on. When you're designing that card, you're not just picking colors. You're getting a masterclass in branding and how to communicate your idea clearly. And then, actually handing that card to someone, that is a real-world lesson in courage and public speaking, all rolled into one.
And here's the best part. This stuff scales up, big time. Research shows that when kids get involved in entrepreneurship, they're not just playing around. They're building real financial literacy. They're sharpening their critical thinking skills. And they're developing confidence, adaptability, and maybe the most important one of all, resilience. The ability to get knocked down and get right back up.
But let's be real. It's not all smooth sailing. As these young entrepreneurs get older and their ideas get bigger, the challenges get a lot more serious. The real world has some pretty significant hurdles. Research points to three big ones. First, getting money. I mean, it's hard for anyone to get a loan, right? Imagine trying to do it when you're 16. Second, mentorship. Finding experienced people who will take the time to guide you is tough. And finally, you've got the psychological hurdles. That feeling of self-doubt, the fear of failure. It can be absolutely crushing when you're just starting.
So, if the obstacles are that huge, how does anyone make it? Well, nobody does it alone. The secret, the absolute key to getting past these roadblocks, is having a strong support system. And when you look at all the data, it points to one thing over and over again: the incredible role of family. Family can be that first investor, the most honest critic, and the emotional rock you need to keep going when you just want to quit.
Actually, this is so important that researchers even have a name for it. They call it a substitute mechanism. Here's what that means. Let's say you live in a place where banks just don't like lending to new, risky ideas. Well, in that case, family support doesn't just help a little, it literally steps in and fills that gap. Your family becomes your incubator, your venture capital, and your #1 fan all in one.
And that brings us to what I think is the most profound point of this whole thing. The journey, from that first business card all the way to tackling real-world problems. It's not really about the business at the end of the day. It's about what's being built inside the person.
See, the real prize here isn't profit, it's the mindset. An entrepreneurial mindset is a way of seeing the world. It sees problems as puzzles to be solved. It learns from mistakes instead of fearing them. It's creative, adaptable, and resilient. And those aren't just business skills. Those are life skills. So let's circle all the way back to that simple business card. When we encourage a kid to dream up a little company, we're starting something so much bigger than a game. We're launching them on a journey of self-discovery. And the real question we should be asking isn't just what kind of business will they build, but what kind of amazing person will they become?